Hi guys, and I'm back with a review of this Oxford Rail Dean Goods in the lined Great Western livery. I will say to start off with, I had this model when it first came out, but my review was slightly bodged, if I'm honest. It kept derailing on second and especially third radius. So I sold it and got a 72XX, I believe it is, big, massive Great Western tank locomotive from Hornby. Doing a bit of online shopping as you do when you're bored, and saw this at Melk's model shop in Derby for a reasonable price. I think it's like £100 or so. Had a word with a few people about it. Said just be careful of the motors. If it's the first batch, the motors are rubbish, so just bear that in mind. This is the first batch. The motor isn't great, but you can see that in the video. I will eventually get the newer batch, which is like the khaki livery, WD livery, because they seem to run a lot better. I will put Melk's model shop link to his website in the description. If anybody wants to go and check out any bargains or any stock he's got wide range. It's very helpful. Had a good chat with him on the phone about this model. So yes. Let's go on with the video and let's see what it's actually like instead of me talking. Here is some model information on the Great Western Dean Goods. Oxford Rail have announced a model of Dean Goods in 2017 in both Great Western and British Railways. Also do one in a WD livery and a khaki livery as well. Mainline and then later Hornby do a Dean Goods as far back as 1983 for 00. Also you can get some kits in O gauge by LIVERY and some other kits as well. First off, we'll look at the detail bag that you get. You do get a few bits. You get the coupling, the front coupling. You also get some brake rigging, which I think is the back or the front. I'm going with the back, the tender. You also get some chain link couplings as well, some hooks, and some more finer details. And you also get in a seal bag too. Some nice additions in this bag. Onto the front of the locomotive. The locomotive does have sprung buffers, which you expect in this day and age, if I'm honest with you. It also has, I think, a push NEM coupling down here where you push the front coupling in. That's in the detail bag. Above that, next to that, you also have something to knock off the side of the track, some rocks or anything. I think they're irons of some description. Then move on to the buffer itself. Like I said, it has sprung buffers. The cup, the hook there is separately applied and it's painted different as well. Might be a little bit overscale, I don't know. Next to one of the buffers, you have a hook where you can put some of the detail, attach some of the detail to. That's in the bag. You also have a vacuum pipe of some description, or brake pipe that goes underneath the front of the buffer. We have the number of the locomotive, which is 2309 in Great Western livery writing. Also have some rivets as well. I believe these here at the side of the boiler are sanding boxes, which are lovely done and painted and lined as well. We move up to the boiler itself, or smoke box itself. Smoke box dart is separately applied and different colour as well. We don't have any picked out hinges or anything like that, but it's still nice, still there. The handrail that goes round the top of the boiler is in green. I believe that is incorrect. The chimney itself is separately applied. The copper top doesn't look too great, but it's there, it's a good thing. As we move on to the side of the locomotive, as you see, you still got that green handrail going around the boiler. Also have that lovely lined livery, which is orange and black orange. As you look down near the wheels, that pipe does come out underneath here and it goes along the chassis, along here. Also we have the brake rigging already applied, and then we have the sanding gear is there as well. The wheel covers are correct. They are covered as well in black. They're very nice. The rod is thin, modern. It's all nice. The splashes are lined as well. What do you expect? We do have some top detail to mention as well. We have a dome, safety valves and whistles, which I believe are plastic but separately applied. We also have some sort of feeder. I think it could be doing the sand or something else. I'm not quite sure. Which is separately applied. You can take it off. These two little holes. We do have a hole where the cylinders used to be. We also have some steps to go up, which are lined above the steps. We also have what looks like a small, tiny handrail, along with some small, tiny parts which I've mentioned. Around the cab area itself, we have the number of the loco. It's not etched or anything, but it's still nice. The cab part itself is lined, and we have some handrails to go with it and some more steps. As we move on to the other side of the locomotive, there is a few differences around this side, if I'm honest with you. And there's also a few bits that I missed from the other side as well, which I can show you around this side. Like I said, the steps do have lining. There's also a gold band just before the blackness here of the boiler. We also have a superheater, which I believe is a superheater. We have a reversing rod there, which I think is plastic, if I'm honest with you, but it's still there, it's separately applied. Next to that, if you look carefully, you can also see a seam line for the loco, which if once you see it, you can't unsee it, but it's not anything bad or anything. There's some rivets on the chassis itself and on the splashers. As we move on to the cab area itself is highly detailed. As you see down the side of the cab, there's painted metal strip, which I believe is plastic, but still a fantastic touch. As you look into the cab, everything, and I mean everything, is painted to a high standard. This is quite a cheap locomotive, remember? It cost about £80, £90. So this is highly detailed. Even some of Hornby's and Bachmann ones are not this highly detailed. It's pretty nice. The windows are glazed. Can't see it from here, but the flooring is painted as well. It's a very nice cab. One of the best. As we move on to the side of the tender, both sides of the tender, I believe, are exactly the same. So I'll just show you this one side here. As you see, the tampo printing on the Great Western and all the lining on all the loco really is wonderful. It's crisp, it's nice, it's really nice. You've got the crest in the centre of the Great Western. It's a nice touch. Speaking of lovely touches, as you look down at the axle boxes, they are picked out in a slight orange, which is a nice touch too. We also have some lovely handrails, which are picked out in silver. You can just about see a little bit of the coal. We'll get into that in a minute. You can also see some other finely applied details onto the tender. Speaking of the tender, you also have, between the tender and the loco, you also have a guard to stop the firemen or crew falling through. That is separately applied, and that does move. As we move on to the back of the tender, much like the front of the locomotive, it is all the same near enough. We have a separately applied hook, which is in silver, sprung buffers as well. Next to the sprung buffers, we have a hook for some of the detail, which goes from the one hook to another. It is a nice touch. That is there as well. We also have them irons to stop things getting in the way of the tracks. We also have the coupling that's already applied. We do have a builder's plate in the centre of the tender next to them steps. There's two. We also have more of that fantastic lining and rivets. And you can just about see where you put the water into the tender. As we have a look down at the top of the locomotive itself, as you can see some more of that fantastic detail and lining. You can see the gold band near the chimney. Very nice touch. You can see the superheater a little bit too. See that thing which I think is a top feeder or a sander. That's there as well. It's separately applied, like I said before. The gold dome, don't think it is, but it still might be. I'm really unsure about that. The safety valves are definitely separately applied. Along with the whistles, which I said before, are plastic. That lining is great. Sorry if I repeat myself. As you can see, some of that wood flooring in the cab area as well. We've got to see the green handrail going round. Like I said, that isn't correct. I think it should be black. As we move on to the top of the tender, as you can see, the coal load is there. I don't think it is removable, but I could be wrong. It does seem a little bit loose. It's not the best coal load I have seen, but it's still a pretty nice one, if I'm honest with you. To move a bit more towards the cab, you can see some water scoops. I believe they are handles for the water scoops. Could be even for the brake. I'm unsure. Which are separately applied, and silver as well. Next time we have toolboxes too, which might be separately applied or moulding, but they're still highly detailed. And next time you have a holder and a bit where you put your shovels and your rakes It's all there. It's all finely detailed. Very nice there by Oxford Rail. You also have 2 holes in the tender, 2 pointy up, should I say, for the tarpaulin, which you attach that to in the cold weather down on the Great Western Lines. As we move on to the underneath of the locomotive, it's very basic underneath, if I'm honest with you. It is all-wheel pickups as well, may I add. Very nice touch there by Oxford Rail, which you expect. If I'm honest with you, if you look towards the tender and loco is connected in the way of a Hornby style one, which I prefer over the Bachmann one, if I'm honest with you. There's not really much to see here. You can see some more of that piping. Just going under here, there's some pipe under there, under the coupling. Like I said at the start, that's the only bit I can see. And you've got 3 screws, so I think that's to hold the motor in place. And finally, we move on to the tender. As you can look, the tender has the plug. I think that's where the speaker goes, if I'm honest with you. I'm not into DCC or sound, it's not my bag. But I think that's where it goes. The tender does have pickups. I believe it's all 6 wheels on the tender as well. So this should be a smooth runner. We also see a water scoop. We also see the holes where the brake rigging that's in the detail pack should go. The wheels are not the cleanest, but I found that quite a lot often from Oxford Rail. I don't know why, it could be the metal they use. You also see the type of coupling as well, which is NEM coupling. I believe that's correct. Very nice, some nice touches on this locomotive. So yeah guys, that's it on the tracks. As you can tell, it's on the inner circle, but I will show it doing second radius, even though it can do second radius as it is. So next up is second radius and points test. So here it goes. Seems to be managing this pretty well. It is on DC. Just did a 10, which is pretty good. That cab detail is awesome. It managed that pretty well, I've got to say. Quite smooth in places, very nice. So next up will be some slow speed, and I'll find it a running friend. I hope you enjoy. I'll see you at the end. Not bad. So yeah guys, that's the end of the running session on this Dean Goods. Now it's time for my opinion. Must stress it's only my opinion. Before I do that, locos that ran with it, we had the 72XX by Hornby in BR Black. It's quite a nice locomotive if I'm honest with you. No issues. That was on a mixed freight with a couple of new items. Very nice there. Then in the sheds or the yard we had Hornby, the newly tooled Hornby Stepney. Then next to that we have the Oxford Rail N7, Alniar N7 in its wartime grey. And then just there, coal bunker first, we have the Hatton's SER P class. Very nice locomotive. Lovely runner as well. So yeah, my take on the Dean Goods. The detail is fantastic. As you saw in the detail video, the detail is fantastic. It's not bad for a locomotive that's under £100. Yeah, there's probably a few places it probably could be improved if it was picky, like no motion under there. It should really have motion, but like I said, for less than £100, it's not bad, not bad. The more newer ones, like the, I think it's the BR versions, the WD versions, and the khaki livery ones, do run slightly better. So I'm told. I'll have to wait and find out to see if that is correct if I get one. Would I recommend it? Yeah. They cover quite a lot of liveries and styles. This one is hard to get now. There's a few smaller model shops that had it. Like I said, I got some Melks models. He had one left. I think Hereford models had one at some point. You could use this one as a rail tour special, I believe. Like I said, it's really up to you, but if you want a decent runner, decent locomotive for less than £100, you want a tender loco, please try this Dean Goods. Only my opinion. I look forward to whatever Oxford Rail release in the near future. I got high hopes for this company. So that's my take on it. If you liked it, that's nice. If you didn't, it's a free world. Until next time guys, it's goodbye from these beauties. And it's goodbye from me. Bye.